Hi there. Oh, hold on. Let me get the light. Hi. Looks like you've either stumbled upon or are sharing this video through the glorious wonder that is technology. Well, what exactly is this video about? Thank you, Fancy Transitions. They're exactly right. Me and my friends are going to be talking about the concepts of equality and discrimination. Now I'll establish a discussion question. Is the idea of equality applicable to everyone, and why or how is discrimination morally objectionable? More on that later, but before that I'd like to back up and establish just what these words mean exactly. So let's define these concepts. What is equality? Equality is a state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. Now, discrimination, on the other hand, is treatment or consideration of, or making a distinction in favor of or against a person or thing based on the group, class, or category to which that person or thing is perceived to belong to, rather than on individual merit.
How do the concepts of equality and discrimination relate to today? In our society today, there are more ways than ever before that people are equal, but also unequal. Equal in the right to vote is more completely universal in the USA. Racial segregation does not exist in a legitimate form. Marriage equality. Unequal in that A. Women on the average are paid less than men. B. Racial profiling is somehow considered a legitimate investigative tactic. C. Affirmative action gives advantages to those with a history of being put at a great disadvantage, but the system is poorly executed. D. Cultural appropriation creates caricatures from a person's life or history.
Equality. The state of nature has a law of nature to govern it, which obliges everyone. And reason, which is that law, teaches all mankind who will but consult it, that being all equal and independent, no one ought to harm another in his life, health, liberty, or possessions. And, when his own preservation comes not in competition, ought he, as much as he can, to preserve the rest of mankind, and may not, unless it be to do justice on an offender, take away or impair the life, or what tends to be the preservation of the life, the liberty, health, limb, or goods of another. John Locke, Second Treatise.
Now let's take it back to the 20th century, where separations between whites and coloreds. This is where the civil rights movement started, a movement to secure the rights of African American citizens. This movement brought attention to the injustice of racial discrimination faced by people of color.
Let's bring it back to today. The concept of equality applies to something else, minimum wage. The idea of minimum wage acts as a qualifier for wages at certain levels of work. A city, county, or statewide minimum wage is an example of equal treatment for workers. Workers at higher levels can be paid more, but there is a minimum amount that all employers must meet for employees. Discrimination.
The only difference between man and man, all the world over, is one of degree, and not of kind, even as there is between trees of the same species. Wherein is the cause for anger, envy, or discrimination? Mahatma Gandhi. Malalai Joya is an activist, writer, and a former politician from Afghanistan. She served as a parliamentarian in the National Assembly of Afghanistan from 2005 until early 2007. She survived 4 assassination attempts and has been called the bravest woman in Afghanistan by the BBC. Apartheid is a system of racial segregation within South Africa in play up until its end, brought on by the ANC in 1989 with the election of F.W. de Klerk.
The volatile relationship between the experience of discrimination and the ideal of equality is an interesting topic to discuss.
What is equality to a person who has never experienced, seen, or learned of some sort of discrimination in their life, racist, classist, sexist, or otherwise? To them, it's how life is already. To aspire to some ideal of equality for all you need to have experienced, perceived, or discovered some form of discrimination either against you or others.
Experiencing discrimination makes you want to fight for your equality. Being discriminated against isn't exactly a joyful experience. People may perceive you as an unfortunate soul, a lesser person, or even not a person at all. Fighting for equality means fighting for your or someone else's right to feel like they're being treated like a human being.